Hello everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. Get ready for another great and fun recipe. This one's also quick and easy to make. And yes, it's for marshmallow popcorn balls. And the first thing you're going to need will be freshly popped popcorn. You can pop some in the microwave, or you can take it and pop it in a hot air popper, or even do them on top of the stove. Go ahead, get your popcorn popped, and let's get started. And start by lining 2 cookie sheets with some parchment paper. In a large pot, melt about a half a cup of butter, or you can substitute for a good quality margarine as well. Then add about 5½ cups of mini marshmallows to that melted butter. And I use mini marshmallows because they melt faster and they're just easier to work with. Of course, you have this over a moderately high heat, so stir it constantly while it's melting, and once you have it just about melted, remove it from the heat, and I like to place it on a cutting board to let it cool down a little bit. And don't forget to add a little bit of vanilla, about a half a teaspoon is all you really need, and it does make a difference in enhancing the flavor. Take the spoon and stir it until it's well combined. And let it continue to cool down. It needs to be about lukewarm so that it doesn't shrink your popcorn. And if you continue to stir it, it will cool off a little bit faster, and the consistency will be something like this. And as it cools off, it starts to thicken a little bit. Then I take and measure out a few cups of popcorn. The amount that you need will be about 5 to 6 cups. And again, you just use your own judgment because you do want it to be a little bit sticky and have the extra marshmallow in between. You don't want it to be dry. And so having said that, I always put my popcorn into a larger roasting pan like this and make sure to remove any unpopped kernels. And then I pour about half of the melted marshmallow on top and mix it in. And this helps to coat each piece of popcorn more thoroughly. So it's alternating between a little bit more popcorn, a little bit more of the marshmallow mixture until you have it all well coated. I use a rubberized spoon just to mix it, and I'm careful how I mix it so that I don't crunch the popcorn or crush it. So it's just more or less moving it back and forth and scooping the melted marshmallow off the bottom of the pan so that it coats the popcorn nicely. And continuing to alternate between the added popcorn and melted marshmallow until you have all that melted marshmallow used up. And make sure that it remains a little bit tacky or sticky because that extra marshmallow will help to keep it from being dry, and it will still hold together nice. And it'll be so nice and chewy, and the flavor of the marshmallow will come through nicely. So now that this is nicely coated, I'll go ahead and start making up some popcorn balls. So you can see how sticky it really is here. You just take a spoon and plop some onto the parchment paper. Don't worry about shaping them into balls quite yet. I try to shape them just slightly while they're still warm, but it is pretty tacky here. You'll find that it helps to grease your hands so that your hands don't stick to the popcorn balls. Some of the decorations will need to be done while they're still warm so that it will stick to the popcorn balls. Toasted coconut is one of those. Just place a little bit of coconut on a pie dish and put it on broil on the top rack for just a few minutes. It happens to toast up quite quickly and you may need to stir it a couple of times. Then you just sprinkle it over the top of your popcorn balls and it sticks nicely. But you need to do this while it's still warm. This adds a crunchy toasted coconut flavor to an otherwise chewy popcorn ball. And this next one is with some blue frost sprinkles. You just sprinkle that on while it's still warm and it sticks to it quite nicely as well. This adds a little bit of color with a little bit of a crunchy candy flavor. And you do need to work quickly, but while these are cooling off, they do need to be shaped periodically because sometimes they'll flatten out a little bit. The next one I'm doing is candy hearts. They also add crunch, but they're also sending a little message of love your way. And they're very colorful and quite attractive to look at. Now this one is with peanut butter M&Ms. That pretty much says it for itself. You just crunch into one of those and you get a burst of peanut butter flavor in amongst the marshmallow. Now that the popcorn balls are starting to cool off a little bit better, I greased my hands and started shaping them again a little bit more. You can see how much easier it is to work with. Now last but not least is the chocolate drizzle. With this one, the popcorn balls can be actually cooled off because the chocolate will stick to it and hold its shape a little bit better. And of course this chocolate's melted in the microwave just for a few seconds. And then just pour that chocolate into a Ziploc baggie. Now cut a hole in the one corner and then just drizzle the chocolate back and forth on top of your popcorn ball. Chocolate is one of my go-tos. It pretty much complements anything that you want to add it to. You can also put a popsicle stick in them so that they're easier to eat without being so sticky. I tend to just leave them in the popcorn balls without the sticks. It's not a big deal. Get a little sticky, oh well, it's part of the fun. But this is certainly a nice option. So you can go ahead and make these and have them made up in no time. They're really quite quick, and there's lots of options to choose from. And as you can see here, I've shown you just a few. You can even leave the popcorn balls plain if you want and not decorate them. But if you choose to go ahead and decorate, there's many more ways that you can do this. So go ahead, have fun with this. You can also come up with new names for your own creations. You can take saran wrap and wrap each one of them and fancy them up a little bit with a bow and take them to a party, or just keep them in the saran wrap so that they stay fresh. And they're great for gift giving as well because you can fancy them up so much. So thanks so much for watching today's episode with Best Recipes with Sharon. And until next time, have fun and happy eating.